Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Fatso Radio, episode 113, and my name is Carlo Volpe. It is my pleasure to come to you each and every Friday night, and tonight is no different. No different tonight, folks. I have a quick episode, fairly quick episode, I guess, but it's kind of a recap. What's going on? It's April 2nd. It's Easter weekend. What's been going on with me, my work, my diet? Nothing too much crazy, folks, but I want to tell everybody thank you, and I want to tell everybody how much I appreciate everything. You've been listening, you've been commenting, you've been sharing and liking and all of that stuff. I want to talk to you about Volpe Martial Arts. Volpe Martial Arts, folks, is KW's hottest, newest Kung Fu and Hapkido martial arts studio. That's right. Kung Fu, a Chinese martial art. Hapkido is Korean martial art, an amazing fusion. My brother, Sifu Adam Volpe, is the headmaster, the head instructor, the head Sifu there. And it's awesome. Discipline, self-defense, mental challenge, physical fitness, camaraderie, family, community. It's awesome. Even during social distancing, even during COVID lockdowns, we were able to do it. We're online and back online again. Check it out, volpemartialarts.com. Sifu Adam Volpe, my brother. Folks, I love you all. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. Fatso Radio, episode number 113. Don't forget to email me, fatsoradio@gmail.com. Peace. I love you. Lily, take it away.
Fatso, the really great podcast show.
Fatso, our very first podcast show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? Episode number 113, and it's my pleasure again to come to you each and every Friday night. It's another Friday, another beautiful Friday night here in Kitchener, Waterloo. In Kitchener only. I can't be in two cities at one time, but in the KW area. So thank you for joining me in Fatso Radio. Again, what's Fatso Radio, guys? Fatso Radio, a weekly show where I come to you and I just give you updates. Sometimes I don't give you much, but sometimes I'll give you an interview with a great guest, or sometimes I'll give you some things I've researched and some things I've tried or some things I've tested myself, and I've found some anecdotal evidence or whatever kind of evidence, and I've shared with you. Again, it's not medical advice, folks. It's nothing that I'm going to say, do something against what your doctor's telling you or a medical professional is telling you, but I am encouraging you to try new things and to think and to question things and to test things out and test things out with your body. As long as they're safe, of course, test them out. And this is no exception. This update, or today, I really wanted to talk about an update, what's going on with me the last week or so. I've been working on and off. The last couple of weeks, it's been great. I'm a casual worker, so I'm getting on call sometimes, and sometimes I'm not called. And I've been working on the road. I've been working on the truck, and also this last week I was working on foot again, walking the street. So it's been amazing. It's been good. It's been busy. It's been a real test and a real. Every time I work, because my job is a physical job, it's always quite a test. It's always quite an experiment with me to see if my diet is quite working. What I'm trying to say, if that makes sense, is that I can really test out, because I'm working, say, 5 days in a row, and I'm doing the same type of work for those 5 days, and I'm walking the same type of area for those 5 days, or I'm in the truck doing the same type of work for those 5 days. It's a nice kind of test case for me to see, well, what works and what doesn't work. And I've noticed that this week, for an example, when I'm walking 15 or 20 kilometers a day, which is, I don't know, 12 or something miles a day, but if you're walking that much and you're carrying 20 pounds or 30 pounds or 35 pounds on you, or whatever the weight is, you not only, sure, you can rely on being in ketosis, right? So I can rely being in a carnivore, which is great. But so because what I'm trying to say is that I don't have to eat necessarily throughout the day. But in order to do that, you have to make sure that you still have enough. You still consume enough in that day. So if you're going to have one meal a day, at that time when you're eating that one meal, you have to make sure it has enough energy and it has enough protein, has enough fat, has enough of the ingredients you need to sustain a high performance, not only just energy, not only just to be able to live, right? Because you probably need, you do need just a fraction of your total daily intake just for survival, or just for your heartbeat, just for your lungs to work and for your brain to work. But the rest of that is you need for full function and optimal function, would then need even more. It only makes sense. And if you're going to test your body, and if you're going to challenge your body physically or mentally for that matter, because your brain uses tons and tons of calories, but if you're going to challenge your body, specifically physically, let's talk now, you're going to need more nutrients. So not only just more calories, you're going to need better food, in my opinion. You're going to need more food, of course, but you're going to need better food, because you're burning through that food. And while you can probably, there's a weird paradox here that I think though, if you're in good physical fitness and your digestion is pretty good and you're in good overall health, you can probably tolerate a lot of crap, or you can probably tolerate a fair amount of crappy food. You can probably tolerate more of that crappy food than someone who is not in better metabolic shape, better physical fitness, both conditioning, but also biologically, kind of your digestion, everything. You can probably tolerate more if you're in better shape. But at the same time, if you're trying to truly feel optimal and truly tap into the optimal state of the human body, in my opinion, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a, you know, not a expert in, anthropology of the human body, or how we developed or how we've evolved, but in my opinion, it makes sense to say that if you have the optimal food, then it would probably at least put you in a best position to then perform optimally as well. And I really do believe that. So, if you're going to eat one meal a day, what you eat is really, really important, because that's when you're getting in your calories. And you can fit that meal with a bunch of shit and a bunch of crappy calories, which is just, whether it's crappy sugar calories or crappy fat calories, right? You don't want to, even though this is, I usually talk about ketosis in this regard, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's sugar or crap. Yes, you can tolerate it, but it's not going to do you any good. And if you're eating these crappy calories that you just say in your mind, I need them just to get the calories in, but this type of food that you're eating has some ramifications, or makes you feel like shit, or puts you on the toilet, or just gives you aches and pains. I mean, there's certain food, certain types of really highly processed carbohydrates that if I eat them, I could just feel it. Oh, I could just feel it. I'm like, oh my God, I eat this crappy piece of bread or confectionery or pastry or what, a Pop-Tart or whatever. Heaven forbid I've had a Pop-Tart. I really have many in my life. But I feel it now, especially. Maybe I didn't feel it before, because I just didn't even know what feeling is. It's one of the things, I don't want to go too far on a tangent, but one of the things that I think many people experience, and I know I experience for sure, and I've heard this from other people, is that once you start tapping into what your body feels like, then you start making some different decisions, right? But the problem is that you don't really know what your body feels like for a lot of people. For a lot of people, what I mean is, for a lot of people that have their regular life is they just eat this, they do this, they go to work, they go to sleep. Whether they feel shitty or whether they feel pains and aches or pains, a lot of people can't really associate that to their food. A lot of people don't, whether they want to or not. A lot of people just can't, because it's hard to do that unless you really try and eliminate everything. If you really try and do an experiment on yourself, and when you do that, but at the same time, the benefit of having that n=1 experiment, right? N=1, just a me equals 1. I'm going to try this experiment. There's one subject in this experiment. The benefit of doing that is not only do you get valuable data, right? But your data is personalized for you. So you're going to know exactly what to do. You don't have to read a book and try and interpret, is this my body type or is this my body type? Try it out yourself. Right? Try it out yourself, because although your body may respond a certain way because it's in a certain state, or your body may respond a certain way to certain foods that you don't think it should, because these foods are supposed to be healthy. Well, what's the state of your body? Is your body going through tons of inflammation? Is your body going through tons of an immune response from something else? Is your body being attacked by something else, right? Immune response is, to be the simplest form of an explanation, which is not a professional complete explanation, but an immune response is your body, it's attacking itself. And it's not just attacking itself because it doesn't like itself. It's attacking itself because there is a foreign invader, right? And it attacks things that not only are the foreign invader, but it also sometimes attacks things that are your own self, your own cells that aren't invaders, but because they look like this invader. For example, gluten, right, may look like other tissue, like thyroid tissue or something like that. If you have this issue, or that's just an example, I'm probably not even right on that. But my point is that that's how autoimmune issues work, and that's what it is. So if you can find the source of the trigger, it's the biggest thing ever for autoimmunity. And for a lot of people, when you go through a full elimination diet, you're bound to eliminate what's triggering your issues if you go through that, because that's the whole purpose of it. It's an exercise in finding out what it is. It's a really scientific, a simple example, but a scientific way of thinking. It's irrefutable. Like if say someone ate 5 things in their diet, let's just to be simple, right? If someone just ate 5 things in their diet and they slowly either eliminate all the food off, right away, and start saying, I'm going to try, if the 5 different fruits, say apples, bananas, oranges, grapes, plums, whatever, and if they just took one food, try it for a week, switch, try for the week, and then big combinations and try that, different combinations, you will be able to find out pretty quickly if one of those foods are causing you problems. Now, if none of those foods are causing you problems, then that's a whole different story. But eliminating what's in your diet, if you're only eating those 5 things, then you're going to have a pretty big picture. You're going to have a pretty good picture. And sometimes if you're eating 10 million different types of food, the real thing comes down to it's a couple different types of foods, right? Processed carbs is a huge, giant group of foods. If you take out processed carbohydrates, everybody I know feels better. Even the people who, like, there's some people may not feel bad if they eat them, but they'll feel good if they take them out. Like, tell me someone who doesn't ever feel like they have a bloated section, midsection, or gut area or digestive system after they've had a lot of bread and carbs. Anybody who's over 30, tell me. I don't know. Maybe there are people that can be 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, still eat tons and tons of bread their whole life and never feel bloated, even if they eat a lot of it. I don't know. But again, I'm not talking about being excessive in everything. I'm just saying a lot of people will do something and they'll find out. They really will find out what their body's like by having an experiment, having that N=1, having that elimination diet. And really, I think elimination diets are great, even just a short term to find out what you're doing, right? Eliminate everything to start with just beef. See how that feels. Beef's good. Beef and eggs. Good. Beef and eggs and butter. Good. You want to add lettuce or whatever? Sure. Add lettuce. See how you feel though. It really, like, if you're doing that, just don't, in my opinion, just because I love you, all 4 listeners. Thank you for listening, by the way. Thank you for watching. 4,400, 4 million. I'm not sure what the numbers are. And I haven't checked. Jamie, do I have a young Jamie? I don't have a young Jamie. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching another time through. It's another good reminder to me to say that. And I love you all. This is obviously a podcast that is not run by billions and billions of dollars and millions of dollars, thousands of dollars, even $10. It's not run by much. And it's just me giving you my story, my commentary, I don't know, it's what's going on in my life, right? And I like doing this. It's therapy for me. Hopefully it's therapy for somebody out there. I mean, it's good. And again, that's kind of what's going on with me, right? So I realize again, and I'm just not even realized, but I just reminded myself, it was a good reminder that I need a substantial amount of food, right? I need a fair amount of protein. I weigh 218 pounds. I just weighed myself today, by the way, 218 pounds. Boys and girls and friends of all ages and sizes and everything. I've been around 200 pounds or 220 pounds or 215 or 225 and then 230 and 205 and 15, like my 220 or 210 to 220. I've been that now for like, or 225 even, or 30. I've been that for like 4 or 5 years now, around 200 or 2016 is when I lost most of that weight, 2017. So I guess 4 years. What is it, 2020, 2021, right? Yeah, 4 years. Says that on my calendar. So, but it's interesting because now I'll just, if I eat like crap, and when I mean like crap, I'll have like, sometimes I'll eat candy, of course. Like I'm a human and I'm never going to be the person to say, do only what I say because this is what you do. And I'm the perfect example and I'm going to never lead you astray. And of course, I'm never going to intentionally lead you astray, but I'm never going to be the person to say, how dare you, damn you for having a candy or whatever it is, not even just candy, for having food that is not optimal to you. I understand where we grew up. I understand the society we live in. I understand what's happened to food, right? That's a topic for a whole other podcast, but I want to get into it. I understand what happened to food, and food has been hijacked. Our appetites have been hijacked. Our nutrition has been hijacked. It's absolutely been hijacked by sugar and the sugar industry. And it's been, in my opinion, it's the cause of all of our problems. It's triggers all of our ailments. I absolutely believe that it triggers, it's at the root, with other things probably, of course, right? Other things that aren't healthy for us. They trigger and they're at the source of all of our modern ailments, all of our diseases of civilization. I truly believe that. And so that being said, I understand that it's the most difficult thing for me, and a lot of people like me, it's the most difficult thing in the world to give up sugar, to stay off sugar completely, to stay off complex carbohydrates, stay off all that stuff completely. I get it. I understand. And that's like, to say that and to acknowledge that it's an addiction to me is a no-brainer. If you don't think it's an addiction, or if you don't understand, or if you don't accept that as an addiction, I plead with you to have an open heart and have an open mind, because it is an addiction for a lot of people. It doesn't mean it's not fixable. It doesn't mean it's not workable. It doesn't mean we can manage it, or we can't manage it rather. It just means that we have to acknowledge it. We have to be conscious about this. We have to be cognizant and have intent behind what we're doing, and know that what it means. At the same time, it means that we have to give each other a break because we're human. We have parties, we have friends. Even in times like now, we have people making something for us and people dropping off a gift or I haven't seen you in a while. Here's something little. Here's some little donuts. Just some way, the Canadian way. Here's some coffee and donuts. Here's a bagel. Here's a donut. Here's a bagel. Or here's a. I'm repeating myself, but here's like the simple things like cookies and croissants and just simple complex carbohydrates because they are easy to make and they're easy to pick up and they're portable. And so I get all that. So it's not the end of the world, right? Well, it might be the end of the world. We don't really know at this point. What I mean is that if you cheat and if you go off your diet and if you're not optimal, it's not the end of the world. But it's also not something to completely dismiss. And it's like everything else. We have to work that into our repertoire. We have to work that into also, we have to work into being okay with it if we slip, but also being okay at getting better at it so we slip less often. If you truly feel better, if you're eating healthier, if you truly feel better mentally and physically, if you're on a more nutrient dense diet and a healthier diet, and I'm always going to promote that. I'm never going to be the guy that says, first of all, I'm never going to judge someone and say, I don't think you're a good person because you eat this way. I'm not going to say that. I may say your idea, your intent is maybe factually wrong if there's some evidence behind it or something like that. But like, I'm never going to say to someone, yeah, go ahead and eat shitty food. Go ahead and eat that stuff and continue to eat that stuff because you might as well just give up. It's not worth it. It's too hard for you. I'm never going to tell you. I'm never, ever, ever going to tell you that it's too hard, that your situation is not improvable. You can't improve your situation. I'm never going to tell you that all hope is lost. Even if you're terminal, even if you have 2 more days left in your life, well, hey, have 2 more days to be as happy as you can be and to love as much as you can love and to if whatever your intention is, if you want to give in your life, you have 2 more days to give. If you want to, like I said, experience life, you have 2 more days. And my point is that I would never give up, and accepting things isn't giving up either. It's accepting things is one thing, but giving up, I say my definition of giving up is throwing your hands in the air and accepting, not just accepting situations, but accepting unhappiness or accepting a situation that can be fixed, but not trying to fix it, or a situation that can be more loving and more fulfilling and not trying to do our part or standing in the way. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But anyway, my update on walking. Like I said, a couple of days this week, I was walking, like I said, 15 or 20 kilometers. Depends on the different days, but a couple of times I didn't eat anything in the morning. And then later on, I had some snacks, certain things I realized about that. And again, just reminded myself, I of course need water. Everybody knows you need water when you're walking. You need water when you're working. You need water just throughout the day. But more importantly, I won't say more importantly, but as equally important as water, and sometimes probably not looked at as important as water or as much as water, is salt, the sodium. You need it. It's not just the sodium, the chloride, the electrolytes, potassium. You need that. And I had some peanuts this week. Excuse me. I had some peanuts this week. Now the peanuts peanuts usually don't react very great to my system. I'm not the best at digesting peanuts, let's just say. But at the time, they gave me some energy, and they made me, and they really did. There's some fat in there. There was a fair amount of salt in a little bag of peanuts, and I was good. It was good for a little while. It actually gave me a little bit of pep in my step. The next couple of days, the next day rather, I brought in some homemade jerky. Pretty salty jerky, dried up beef. It was awesome, and I ate that as I was going for about a 5-minute walk down a hill. And ate that, and then honestly, within about 15 or 20 minutes, I felt like another pep in my step. It was great. So yes, although I can go all day without eating, I do think there's a value in me bringing a little bit of snack, as well as having a substantial meal at the end of the day. Like I'm still gonna fast, for most of I'm just gonna fast all night long, most of the morning until maybe I hit the road, or maybe I'm halfway out on the road. So say maybe noon, I have something to eat. That's like, even if it's 2 meals a day for me in that scenario, and I'm talking about a scenario where I'm working like a 9 to 5, right? I work a 9 to 5 and I'm in the office for a couple hours, and then I'm on the road until I come back at say 5 o'clock. If I'm not eating until noon, and then eating again at 6 o'clock, at 7 o'clock at night, from 7 o'clock until noon, there's a lot of fast in there, which is great. You get the benefit of fasting, the cleansing, the detoxing, and then you get on the road, you're in ketosis, and then you have a snack, something like jerky, you're still going to be in ketosis. I mean, there's not nearly enough, unless you have pounds and pounds of it, but there's not nearly enough, I think, to trigger any sort of much of a instant response, and much of the amino acids. You're not worried about having a blood sugar spike with that, because there's just not, it's protein, right? And there's not even much fat in jerky, so the salt really was the thing. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that oftentimes people talk about water being so important to be hydration, but there's a really important salt and sodium element and all electrolyte element in the hydration part of keeping ourselves hydrated, because you need salt, and salt's a great way to help hydrate you. It's salt is needed to filter through our bodies. It's used and it's recycled. It's very important, salt, but it's also excreted. A lot of people are kind of hyper excreters of salt, or a lot of people go through a lot of salt, and it's weird. This it's not something I really know much about, but I didn't really plan to talk about this, but if you notice that, like salt, I mean, we've all noticed probably when you're a kid and you get sweat on your arm, or sweat or whatever. If you lick your arm when you're sweaty, or lick your hand when you're salty, it's salty, right? When you sweat, there's salt in your sweat. And if anybody's ever experienced, walking for a long time or working out for a long time and sweating a lot, and that sweat would dry up, a lot of times, it would be like a salt ring, like a white ring, or like a whitish kind of a ring around your clothing or something, and that would be salt. And the other day I noticed that after a shift, I just was sweating. I didn't wipe my head or anything for a while. I noticed that I was like, my head was kind of tight, and I wiped my head just a little bit, just kind of scratch it, and it was all this like salt. Literally, it was all this dried up salt on my head. And that might be disgusting, I guess, to some people, but it was salt. I know it was salt, and it just felt like sea salt. It was weird, like a I don't know. It was really weird, and so it made me think of something, maybe think of Dr. Dina Colantonio. No, not Dina Colantonio. Yeah. And a salt guy. And then also it just made me remind myself that I've heard in the past that some people excrete a lot of salt and they go through a lot of salt. And that's proof right there. And I see it on my pants. I see it on my shirt that I expel a lot of salt and I go through a lot of salt. So that is telling me that I'm going to actually probably need a lot more salt. And I've known this now for the last couple of years, that I've had anywhere between 5 and 10 and 15 grams of salt a day sometimes, because you're walking and you're sweating, and whether you're walking or playing or driving or whatever, if it's just warm weather or if it's dry weather, certain times, your body gets dehydrated very quickly. Your body's hydration levels are very, very susceptible to weather change, to stress levels, to working out, to what you ate that day, to digestive issues, right? Like your body uses water as a balancing act. I mean, it regulates your temperature. It's very, very important, right? So staying hydrated is an interesting thing, or is an important thing rather. And with salt, I think it goes hand in hand. The other thing too is like salt. Salt, if you're tired, or if you're kind of like a low blood pressure thing, salt can help you. Right? I mean, there's controversy whether salt actually causes high blood pressure, but if you definitely have low blood pressure, salt can help you, kind of give you a pick me up. Sometimes, like with some people, will feel like a sugar rush, but really sometimes a little bit of sodium will help with that. So that's all I'm going to say about it. So it's been a good week. Like I said, I'm going back to work next week, doing a little bit of stuff in the office. It's a little bit different. But it was great. It was great walking around. It was, I did a lot of hills last week, so my legs are killing me. Great reminder again that I got to keep up with the conditioning and keep up with, Kung Fu and meditating, and not meditating, but yes, meditating, but yoga and stretching and all that stuff that keeps me strong. But I'm reminded, it's one of the things that I was even telling my brother, I was even telling my wife, talking to my wife today about it. It's like, this job, any kind of physical job that you have, if you're in the area of, if you work, I guess what I'm saying is, if you have a physical job, that job is physically demanding, which is a lot of people in a lot of different areas, right? You can have a physically demanding job, and you have a diet, or you're really testing out your diet, and you're trying to really scientifically evaluate your diet without being scientific, of course, in the official term. But if you want to do a simple but effective, really good way of measuring evidence and getting some real data on yourself, then if you have a physical job and your diet, monitor that. What does your diet do to you? Have that N=1 experiment. Try it out. If you're working 9 to 5, or if you're working a 7 to 3, if you're working 3 to 11, or nights or overnights, or working 12-hour shifts, help you if you are. I did it before, and I know what it's like. Kudos to you. But if you are, like, it's a good way to test it out, because we're creatures of habits. We like routines. We do, most people I know do best on routine. So it's a great way if you have a physical job. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that this job and this is reminding me when I'm out there, if I've eaten a crappy couple of days of food and my digestive system is messed up, if walking 15 kilometers when you're not sure, when you're looking for a toilet, could you imagine? And luckily I haven't dealt with that too much lately, right? A couple of days when I was working on the road, I was like, oh, what did I eat last night? And you find I was on the truck, thankfully, but it's like, it's something that really makes me, I kind of look at this like you're an athlete again, or if you ever have been, or if you ever wanted to be, you can look at this like this. And maybe this will help you if you're struggling. If you have a physical job, which a lot of us do, and you have some goals, some physical goals you want to get to, whether it's weight loss or just improve mobility, or whether it's working on ailments or diseases or joint pain or any kind of autoimmune issue, it's a good way to test it out, because you really get some good data, some repeatable data, right? Some repeatable attempts at using the same kind of method to see what it's like. You do it, you record it, you do it, you record it, see what it's like. You tweak something if that doesn't work, or if it does work, you just record it, and then you could tweak it and change it. And when you change it, record, do what it's like, see what it's like for 3 or 4 days. For a lot of people, it takes 4 or 5 days, even sometimes 6 or 7 days to really switch something. But if you do something for 7 days in a row, or if you don't do something for 7 days in a row, it's probably even more powerful to me. But either way, if you don't do something for 7 days in a row, you may feel great. If you do something for 7 days in a row and that thing is not great, not optimal for you, you may feel like heck. You may feel like crap, even though that may be your norm. It's just, it's so bad like that. So give it a shot. And again, always experiment. Do it. Like, don't be afraid to say, well, and these are I'm not a dietitian, of course. I'm not going to give you medical advice, but there's nothing wrong with eating beef. There's nothing wrong with just eating beef. Try beef for a day, beef and butter, or some liver, trying organs. Anybody who knows anything worth the place they learn that information about nutrition and health, they know that organ meats are nutrient dense, the most nutrient dense food in the world. Even if you're a vegetarian and a vegan, but you're a nutritionist, you know that organ meat is super healthy. You know that animal protein is bioavailable, more bioavailable than plants. Even if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you know that, and it doesn't matter. So what I'm saying is, get the best kind of food you can, get the best amount of food, or the best version of the food you can, and it will help you. It will help you be optimal. And if it's going to help you, it makes sense, right? It's not a stretch to think that if removing this food and adding this food helps my condition and my pain, it's not a stretch to think that this could also help me optimize. Of course it can. It's the same type of philosophy, help and harm. You're removing harm. It's going to help you more energy to be stronger. Sure. But it also may have some direct health benefits, like adding more protein, right? Having better hormone control. When you're having more saturated fat in your body, you're having more cholesterol in your diet, you're going to have better hormone control just by the science of it. I'm not telling you, I'm not tested this or anything, but theoretically you're going to. And if you have more direct sunlight, vitamin D, you need cholesterol in your blood to create vitamin D. You're going to produce 1,000 milligrams of vitamin D. I think not a vitamin D. I think your body produces about 1,000 milligrams of cholesterol a day anyway, whether you eat it or not. So eat it. Get the good food that comes with it. Get the good vitamins, the fat soluble vitamins that come with it. Okay. I said my piece. On salt. I need salt. Honestly, salt has been amazing. If it's water and salt, we go hand in hand. It's not just water. I think one thing I just want to make sure at the end of this episode, I let people know that it's not just about water, because you can just waterlog yourself and dilute yourself literally by having too much water. You're going to piss out your electrolytes, and it's just not good. And one of the reasons why, for me, I'm so adamant about the salt thing is because I've experienced leg cramps. I've experienced multiple days and nights of leg cramps, transitioning eating in and out of keto, transitioning in and out of carnivore sometimes. But not only that, it's probably has a lot to do with the fact that if you're using your muscles in certain ways, and then you go and then do something different, right? And then you go and then tax your body and to be a dehydrated state or stuff. So for example, if I go and walk 10 kilometers a day or 15 kilometers a day, and then I go try and do Kung Fu and kick 400 kicks a night, and then I go sit down for 2 hours like this, and I don't move, and then, or 3 hours, and then I go lay to bed, and I eat a bunch of sugar, I'm not going to feel good. I'm not going to feel good, because even if Like, it's just not going to work for me, right? And everybody else is a little bit different. But if you're doing the best you can as far as your diet, not the best you can as far as what's right or wrong, as righteously, but what's best for your body. And if you don't know what's best for your body, that's why the elimination diet is awesome. That's why start from scratch, start from some basic things. Have some meat, have some broth, have some whatever, eggs, butter, things that are pretty universal, and give it a shot. Okay. Happy Easter, everybody. It's Good Friday, so it's not technically Easter yet. But I want to give a shout out to everybody, whether you're celebrating Easter, whether you're not, the religious, the not religious, peace and love to every single person out there. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the love. Thank you for even considering. Thank you for the likes, the thumbs up, the encouragement I get. And I got a lot of personal notes. Thank you so much, guys. It's amazing, guys and gals and teachers and ex-profs and cousins and buddies I grew up with and gals I went to high school with, and I used to pull their hair, and it's awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. It's awesome. I love doing this. If you want to be on the show, and I really want to keep on expanding this to different things, I want to expand this to things that will cover anything that you want to question, right? It's on the theme of Fatso. So what? So what about a lot of things? So what that fat raised cholesterol? It turns out the cholesterol is not bad. It turns out the sugar is the problem, right? So like everything else, so what? Let's talk about it. And whether you want to talk about fat, or whether you want to talk about a diet, or whether you want to be vegetarian, if you're a vegetarian and you want to talk to me on the show, please talk to me. I would love to talk to you. If you're a vegan, you want to talk to me on the show, please talk to me. I want to talk to you as well. Yes, I'm going to try and convince you that being a carnivore is awesome. Maybe not the best thing for you, but I'm going to try and convince you that it's awesome. And if you think it's awesome, maybe you'll give it a shot. Or keto or whatever. The idea is that, like, I understand that you're not going to totally get rid of certain things off the face of the earth. It's not going to happen, right? So it's just about keeping strong, keeping the march on, and banging our drum. That's all I'm saying. Happy Easter, buddy. Happy Easter, everybody. Traditionally on Good Friday, just like Christmas Eve, traditionally our families would eat no meat, so fish. Traditionally Italian bacala, the codfish, salted codfish. This year I didn't have bacala. Sorry, guys, I didn't make any bacala. Excuse me, but I did have salmon. It was delicious, and we had some scalloped potatoes, which is definitely not carnivore or keto, but it was delicious, and I ate it anyway. And there was cheese on it. It was delicious. My wife made it, and I love her, and I love the scalloped potatoes. And it doesn't matter. And it's all about, like I said earlier, folks. It's not every single day being 100% that matters. That being said, there's never a time where I'm going to devalue the benefit of having 100 days of doing something great, or 30 days or 60 days or 90 days of doing something great, because you can really get a lot done in those times. But what I'm trying to say is that one day isn't worth punishing yourself. 2 days isn't worth punishing yourself. 3 days, now we got to talk. Just kidding. But really, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to email me at fatsoradio@gmail.com, our Facebook page, like the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification so you'll be alerted every single time I have an episode. Please share. I want to get the word out. I've been doing this now for a couple of years. I really want to continue to get the word out. It really is a passion of mine. I really want to help people. I'm really convinced that this is something that can help people. It may not be the only solution for somebody or for anybody in particular, but it definitely can be a part of the solution for people. And I do believe it can be a part of the solution for everybody. So happy Good Friday. I don't think anybody normally says that, but happy Good Friday. Easter Sunday is coming soon. I hope everybody has a wonderful and peaceful Sunday. A happy Easter. Ramadan's coming up in a couple weeks, rather. So peace and love to everybody there. Whatever other religious holidays are coming up, whatever religious ceremonies are coming up, peace and love to everybody. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. April 2nd. Wow, can you believe it? April 2nd. All right, folks. fatsoradio@gmail.com. Share, like, all that stuff. I love you all. Fatso Radio. Oh, Violet's going to say thanks for listening again, like she always does. I love you guys. Peace. Let's say bye to everybody. Bye. And we'll say thanks for listening. Say thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Fatso Radio, the really great podcast show.
Fatso Radio, the really great podcast show.
So get your butt and get in your chair.
Don't eat your nails and don't pull your hair.
We'll talk about chicken or talk about steak.
We'll talk about fat, for goodness sake.
Fatso, the really great podcast show.
Fatso, our very first podcast show.